Three-part series that we've had on how to go from a beginning supplier to, maybe you're the teenage supplier and now you're a full-fledged, you want to be a full-fledged expert supplier. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and let's get to it. Okay, so like I said, Heather and Josh Roberts, we are the co-founders of RSG Sales and also are the founders of the Wayfair Mastermind, which is our free Facebook group. So if you are interested, just pop over and request to join. We help home decor and furniture suppliers grow their e-commerce sales channel with accounts like Wayfair and Overstock and things like that. So, okay, we are talking about today how to become an expert supplier for accounts like Wayfair and Overstock and Home Depot and such. So, Josh, there are three things that you can do. So let's talk about what those three things are, if you don't mind. Sound like a plan? Oh, wait a minute. What did I do? There we go. All right. So we are going to do this. We're going to start with our good old-fashioned triangle here, because y'all know how I like a triangle.
So one thing to clarify, if you're an expert supplier, that means you've been doing it for a little while and you've built up a pretty good business. So these three things we're talking about next level, taking the business to the next level.
So actually, let's clarify expert supplier and what that means by you've been doing it for a little while.
Right.
In our definition that we use with our clients in our agency model, an expert supplier is someone who's been selling at least for 2 years, who has a good base business. I think that it's closer to $500,000 plus when you count your e-commerce sales channel.
Yeah.
So $500,000 plus, add up all of your retailers, you're $500,000 plus. You're looking to get to your first million. A lot of the strategies that you use from 500,000 to $1 million are the same things that you use from the same things that we use from 1 million plus. You just kind of have a little bit more availability and money and can double down a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that's what it means to be an expert supplier. All right, so Josh, just whip out for us real quick the three things.
These are pretty easy actually. So it'd be strategic new product development, enhanced imagery or next level merchandising, and new account expansion.
Let's slow down.
That was fast. So we'll go through them one at a time.
Let's try slow down.
So strategic.
Product development.
Product development.
And then we're going to have enhanced imagery.
Enhanced imagery.
I can't write as fast as you were talking.
Yep.
Okay. And account expansion.
New account expansion, yeah.
All right. So I want to go through for our friends who are watching, and we are going to, we're going to just talk about first, we're going to define strategic new product development. So strategic versus just willy-nilly. I know it's going to sound crazy, but there is a thought process.
Yeah, there's a couple areas. So you're not just doing nice to haves. You're not just launching new products because that's what you always do. So you're building on your strengths. You'd be launching things to complement products that have already been successful. You are also looking at gaps in the assortment where you feel like you can gain an advantage with your competencies, your product competencies.
Oh, gags. No gags, Heather. Let's try that again.
The product gaps and opportunities. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned something.
Well, and you want to do things that are what we like to call timeless, where you're not just trying to chase that bright and shiny, that niche, that fun thing that may not be here in 6 months. So you want to be very purposeful in how you launch new products.
Okay, so cool, purposeful. Let's break down each one of these and talk this a little bit. So nice to haves. What I have found, either when I was my own pillow supplier or when we work with our clients, whether that's through our coaching program or our agency, a lot of people just say, ooh, I want new product development. And, they just go out and they literally, that nice to have, I actually call it more of a willy-nilly approach. And what I mean by that is there's not any Data. They don't use data, to found their, their decision making.
Right.
They just think, oh, this would be really cool to have in the line. I've seen other people do it, so I think I'm going to do it. So there's literally no strategic planning, data-based information behind it. So that's what we kind of mean by the nice to have.
Well, the other thing that I see is you see a catalog that is littered with the same type of products. There's not that much differentiation. So people just keep launching new things that they're comfortable with, that they've done before, that's easy.
And I actually find the opposite, which is that they want to be in every category.
That too.
So
there's a balance.
So you can have the yin and the yang of that,
that happens too.
So building on the strengths, this is where we're talking about really becoming data driven here. So this is where you look at your top sellers and you find ways that you can expand on them. So that's either through a size or a colorway, or maybe you have a coffee table, you want to add an end table. Maybe you have a really successful table lamp and you can make it a sconce. So it's expanding in these strategic ways that you've got a proven track record in a specific design and area. From a gap perspective, we mean that you have a particular, like you look at your line across the board, and let's say it is a lighting line, right? And you notice that you have table lamps that are good for like living rooms and so forth, but nothing that really is a good bedroom fit. Or maybe you have table lamps and chandeliers, but you don't have any sconces that can go on a wall. So it's finding where that area of your line that you can easily fill in a blank spot.
Yeah, I think the other thing you can look at too would be price points.
Great example.
That maybe you're at the mid-level and you want to capture the entry-level consumer that's just getting into home decor. So you're gonna, I like to call that OPP products or opening price point. The other thing you can do also too, and this is not easy to do, but very doable, is look at your top customers' assortment in a given category. And maybe they have some gaps that you could fill. And that's a great opportunity to get market share.
Another thing that's a little secret pro tip, look at what your competitors are doing,
Right.
and are they not filling a specific niche that needs to be filled?
Yeah, right.
So
Exactly.
that's a good one. Timeless, Josh, I think you mentioned on it, but let's talk about this a little bit more.
Well, that's
specifically.
That's pretty easy. I think you used an example before in an area rug showroom. Area rug companies will have these really exotic, beautiful rugs, but nobody ever purchases them. They like to look at them. They're fun to talk about. So you want to, but if you look at these same area rug companies, what are their best sellers? Well, they're red rugs, black rugs, traditional designs, transitional designs, things that are timeless. So it's the same thing in any category. You want to bring some freshness to it, but at the same point in time, you want it to be relevant next year as well, too.
Great, perfect. And Purposeful, I think, really combines all of these things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
It combines all of this.
Yeah.
It has to do with making sure you are, that you either don't take the willy-nilly approach or the Me Too approach. I think that's a good way to describe that. That you build on data to make sure that you're doing things in the right manner. And you want to make sure you're filling any of those gaps, either through price point or design.
Yeah.
And we hate to say it, but Justin Timberlake may be taking sexy back, but customers don't buy sexy back.
Yeah.
So,
well, one other thing I would say, because it's how you built your pillow business so well too, is trust your instincts.
yeah.
There's data, there's all these different things you could do, but also, go with your gut.
Like that one. Good. Okay, so that is strategic product development. Wow, okay, this is going to be a chock full video.
Follow that format right there, you'll be a big step ahead.
Okay, so now let's talk about enhanced imagery. Josh, do you want to define it?
Well, enhanced imagery would be, let's just right off the top, that you want to have a couple good lifestyle shots. People like to buy things where they can see examples of how it's used.
And ideally, like perfect world scenario, you want like 2 or 3.
Yep, a couple of them.
That's the perfect world.
Maybe if it's a pillow, you put it in a bedroom, you put it in a living room, you put it in a kid's room.
Same thing if it's a
Same
table
thing
lamp.
for a table lamp or an end table. Yeah, showing ways
Things
to
that are
use it.
easy. Yeah, you want to show as many different rooms and ways to use it if possible. Okay, so we have our 2 to 3 lifestyle images. Another thing we want to make sure you focus on is like corners, unique features, front, back, inside drawers, outside drawers. So being really almost, what is a good way to
You're just drilling down into the nuances of the product. So you want to get credit for any special features that your product has. Maybe it's a wood grain that you want to get a close up on, that it's rustic and it has, what is that, nail holes, the heathered look. So that you want to take credit for what you have.
Or if it has that live, finish type of look.
And then the other thing too, that's not quite as sexy, but also too, this can help prevent returns, because as important it is to convert, you also want to make sure that the customer is educated and feels good about what they're buying, so they don't get it and they're disappointed and send it back.
Actually, in my opinion, Josh, I think that's one of the biggies. I don't think it's necessarily one of the things that new suppliers make the mistake on is they don't take the time to be thoughtful about their images and thinking about the impact that it has on the customer. So when you really are doing that, the enhanced imagery, yes, you want 2 to 3 lifestyles because it's a selling feature. You want to drill down and make sure they can know that, hey, this store has this kinds of slides, or has this kind of finish, or it has this kind of unique feature, whatever it may be. But really all of the drilling down at the end of the day is to prevent returns.
Right.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. And one other thing I would say is kind of the same as new product development, purposeful videos. Okay. Now a video to me, it helps with conversion. Maybe if the product needs to be assembled, you show how easily it can be assembled, or you give examples of how the product can be used, or you're doing a video and you're really showing the dimensions. Anything that provides further education that simplifies the purchase will increase conversion.
And I think the last thing I would bring up in this area is you want to make sure you're doing like dimensional drawings and specifications.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to have that because if you can show, hey, from here to here is actually 36 inches on a drawing, again, it's all built for, yes, to educate the the customer, but at the end of the day, yes, to purchase, but also to prevent the return.
Well, and the other thing too is if you work with interior designers, that information is very important.
Right.
And interior designers shop on these platforms.
They sure do. So it's almost like we have, and this just like literally just occurred to me for the first time. It's like we have that yin and the yang, right? On one side, you have the sales. That's the purpose of the imagery. But on the other side, it's to prevent returns.
Sure.
And in the middle is education.
Education. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's huge.
Well, and here's the cool thing. Not that many people do it.
No, they don't. That's true. They
And
really don't.
it's next level stuff. And, the e-commerce platforms are just getting bigger, and they're going to get more and more competitive. So anything you can do to give you a competitive advantage,
I think that's it.
It's a good thing to do.
Okay, cool. So our last thing that you really should focus on if you want to become an expert supplier is new account expansion. And this is almost counterintuitive at times.
Well, right off the top, we would tell you if you're not in stock 100% of the time on the 80-20 rule with your number one account, don't do it yet. You're not ready. Because all you'd be doing is treading water and setting the stage for out of stocks and further disappointment. So when we say new account expansion, we're assuming expert sellers, you've got a solid base, you're ready to go.
Right.
So if you're doing business with Overstock and Wayfair, let's say, those are your 2 biggest accounts. Now you're in a position you could look at, probably if you're selling to those 2 accounts, you could sell to Home Depot and Lowe's.
Yep.
And based on your price point, maybe Walmart.
Yep.
And based on your style and genre, maybe it's One Kings Lane or Bed Bath or Macy's. So it just depends. But the main thing is it diversifies your sales, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have all your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. And
But I think
increases your cash flow, your profitability. I mean, you want to have multiple accounts.
right,
Building your income.
and all of that is good. Here's the thing, Josh, that I this is a constant conversation in our coaching group, because everybody wants, I want more accounts, I want more accounts. That's great,
Yeah.
but you really need to be able to service those accounts. So you need to make sure you've got the internal staff and the customer service and the people in your warehouse that you can be able to ramp up and scale so that you can properly service these clients. Because if you can't, just don't even bother.
Well, and I will say this too, like Overstock and Wayfair are two of the most flexible accounts in terms of things, but these other accounts that we had mentioned,
they are not.
GLN numbers that you have to have, UPCs, there's all kinds of different requirements. There's Commerce Hub. Do you know whether or not Home Depot has a returns allowance? So there's a lot of things that you really need to understand. And I've seen a lot of companies get themselves into trouble by just running out and opening up everything.
Especially the younger suppliers.
Yeah.
So this is where it's really, really important to have that solid base business. You're 500,000 plus. You really want to get to that next level of $1 million.
Right.
And you at this point probably have the ability to make some of these investments.
Well, I think a good way to look at it is if you can't maximize it with one account, why would you add more?
Great point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to, the beauty of the fun part of building businesses, get yourself to where your base is strong enough where you can do it and it brings value. You don't want to jeopardize your operation. You certainly don't want to jeopardize your number one account by expanding when you're not ready.
Be successful with one.
Yep.
If you can't be successful with one, then you're not ready for
Right.
2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. The good news is with e-commerce too, there's not that many accounts.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true. Okay, gang. So we went through, boy, for us, this was a lot of information. Normally our Sales Tip Tuesdays are on the shorter side. So this was a big one, chock full of a lot of
Yeah, that's a good one.
information.
That's good.
And I think actually this has given me the idea that we may need to break these down and talk about at each level of selling how you could do each of these. So that may be our next series, gang.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So team, remember, this is what we are kind of a recap of what you want to do is you want to have strategic product development. I'm going to pop that back up.
Yeah,
You want to
please
have
say it, yeah.
strategic product development.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you have enhanced imagery, and you want to make sure you have correct new account expansion.
Yep.
If you do those three things, and you will be setting yourself up to be an expert seller. So if you, oh golly, I just noticed our text number has changed. Well, I'm going to change it right here on the fly. So here we go.
Why'd it change again?
It didn't change again.
Okay.
It just changed. All right. There we go. Hey,
is
friends.
that right? It's
Yeah,
only
that's
6 digits? Okay.
It's 6 digits.
There you
Isn't
go.
that much easier to
Hey.
remember? All right. Okay. So team, so I just want to, hey, K1, thank you. Great. I appreciate all of that. He says great
Awesome.
explanation.
Yeah, thank you.
So miss you in my lightning program. All right. So just want to thank everybody. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Text us to 474-747, which to me is a lot easier to remember.
6 digits.
It's 6 digits. So much easier to remember 6 digits. All right, team. We will see you next Tuesday, and we will talk a little bit more. If there's something in particular, as always, that you want to learn about, please drop a comment below, and we will totally, deep dive into that for you. But in the meantime, we will see y'all later. Bye.